Off the coast of Western Australia, in a place scientists call the Patch, something returns every single year. And when it does, the ocean turns into a war zone. Because what's hunting down there isn't a shark. It isn't a giant squid. It's something far smarter and far more disturbing than anything you've ever been told to fear. You've seen them in marine parks, those gentle giants with the painted-on smile, jumping on command. But that's a lie. The killer whale, the orca, is the single most strategic predator this planet has ever produced. 22,000 pounds of apex hunter with the most folded brain on Earth. In the next 18 minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things. How an orca kills a giant squid using nothing but the laws of physics. How a pack of dolphins steals food from whales twice their size and gets away with it. And the most disturbing part, the reason scientists now believe orcas are capable of cruelty. The kind we used to think only humans could feel. One warning before we start: stay until the end. Because the most disturbing thing scientists have ever recorded an orcapod doing, I'm saving for the final act. I'm Mr. Owl Science. Let's go hunting. But before we get to the kill, you need to meet the monster they're hunting. Because for 50 million years, nothing in the ocean dared challenge it. The giant squid, the colossal squid. These aren't just big animals. They are evolution's nightmare engine, perfected for one of the most hostile environments on Earth. Every tentacle is lined with razor-sharp, saw-like sucker rings, made from a substance harder than most metals. The colossal squid takes it further. It has hooks, rotating hooks that spin a full 360 degrees, designed to rip through blubber and muscle. Then there's the beak. That hidden parrot beak buried inside the head delivers a bite force of over 6,000 pounds per square inch, strong enough to shatter bone. For most of Earth's history, these creatures owned the deep. Nothing was big enough, smart enough, or fast enough to challenge them, until something climbed out of the trees, walked on land for a few million years, and walked back into the sea. Around 50 million years ago, a group of land mammals returned to the ocean. Their descendants became whales and dolphins, and one of those descendants would eventually become the most lethal hunter the seas have ever seen. Orcinus orca, up to 30 feet long, up to 22,000 pounds, the largest dolphin on Earth. But size isn't what makes them terrifying. It's what's inside their head. An orca brain weighs 12 to 15 pounds, the second largest of any animal that has ever lived. By encephalization quotient, the standard scientific measure of brain-to-body ratio, orcas score around 2.5. Their bottlenose dolphin cousins score 4. Humans top out at 7. The gap sounds wide, until you realize orcas are wired completely differently. The human brain has something called a gyrification index. It measures how folded and wrinkled the cortex is. The more folded, the more surface area. The more surface area, the more neurons. The more neurons, the more processing power. The human gyrification index is 2.2. The orcas, 5.7. The most folded brain ever recorded in any species on this planet. But here's the part that should disturb you. Inside that hyperfolded brain, one specific region is supercharged, the insular cortex, the exact part of the brain linked to self-awareness, to empathy, to grief. The same region that lights up when you recognize yourself in a mirror or when you feel another person's pain. An orca isn't just smart. An orca is wired to feel. Remember that, because it matters more than you think. And they've spent millions of years using that brain to do exactly one thing: hunt. But before they could hunt giant squid, they had to solve a problem that should have killed them. Every 33 feet you descend in the ocean, the pressure increases by 1 full atmosphere. At 1,000 feet, where giant squid begin to appear, the pressure is 30 times what it is at the surface. At 3,300 feet, it's 100 times. For a human, just diving below 100 feet without specialized gear triggers nitrogen narcosis. Go further, and your own oxygen turns toxic. You'd seize, you'd die. So how does a 22,000-pound mammal survive 1,000 feet down? This is where it gets insane. Right before a deep dive, an orca takes one massive breath, and then its lungs collapse completely. It's called atelectasis, one of the most extreme adaptations in the animal kingdom. The collapse stops nitrogen from entering the bloodstream. No narcosis, no decompression sickness, no death. The oxygen goes somewhere else, into the blood, into the muscles. An orca's myoglobin, the protein that stores oxygen inside muscle tissue, is up to 30 times more concentrated than in any land mammal. That's how they hold their breath for 15 minutes, 1,000 feet down, in the pitch-black, freezing dark, hunting something that does not want to be found. But finding a giant squid in the abyss is a whole different problem. There is no light at 1,000 feet, none. Vision is useless. So orcas evolved something better. They see with sound. Inside the orca's skull sits a fatty organ called the melon. Air gets pushed through specialized tissues called phonic lips, generating a stream of clicks. The melon focuses those clicks into a tight directional beam. When that beam hits something, the echo bounces back. Specialized fat in the orca's lower jaw catches the returning sound and channels it directly to the inner ear. The resolution is staggering. An orca can detect a golf ball at over 300 feet. They can identify a fish species just by the acoustic signature of its swim bladder. They can map an object's interior in 3 dimensions. Its bones, its organs, even its heartbeat. It's not vision, it's better. It's seeing through skin. And then it gets worse. Recent research suggests orcas may be using sound as a weapon. Their hunting clicks can hit 220 decibels, loud enough to physically stun a soft-bodied creature on contact. Picture it, a predator the size of a bus, invisible in the dark, locked onto your nervous system with sonar that can stun you on impact. Now you understand why the squids should be terrified. And now you're ready for the most insane hunting strategy ever documented in the ocean. Marine biologists call it the barometric kill. It works because of a single, fatal weakness in squid biology. A squid has no lungs, no swim bladder. Its body is built for crushing pressure, but that means if you pull a squid to the surface too fast, the sudden drop in pressure tears it apart from the inside. Gas bubbles erupt in its tissues, its eyes bulge. Its body literally rips itself open, and the orca knows this. The orca dives. It locates the squid in the pitch black with sonar, and then, instead of attacking, it does something cleverer. It herds. Using sonar pulses and sheer body mass, the orca pushes the squid upward. The squid panics. It jets toward escape, but the orca stays below it, cutting off the only safe direction, down. Higher, higher, higher. By the time they reach the surface, the squid is already dead, killed by the journey, not the predator. The hooks are useless. The suckers are useless. The orca didn't fight. The orca didn't get sliced. The orca just let physics do the work. That's not instinct. That's engineering. By a dolphin. But there's an older predator down there. Bigger, stronger, and orcas have a very specific problem with it. Sperm whales have been hunting giant squid for millions of years. They're the largest toothed predator on Earth. They dive twice as deep as any orca. They hold their breath 3 times longer. They eat 2,000 pounds of squid in a single day. On paper, they should rule the deep. But orcas have something sperm whales don't: aggression, coordination, and absolutely no fear. There are documented cases of orca pods attacking sperm whales, not to eat them, but to steal their food. To watch a 60-foot whale do all the deep diving work and then jump the kill from above. When orcas approach, sperm whales form a defensive ring called a rosette. Heads inward, tails outward, ready to strike. The largest predator alive, in defensive formation, against a pack of dolphins. That's not natural behavior. That's gang violence. And to coordinate violence like that, you need something more powerful than instinct. You need culture. Orcas don't hunt the same way everywhere. Each pod has its own dialect, its own tactics, its own traditions, passed down from mothers to daughters across generations. Watch this. In the Antarctic, there's a pod that hunts seals on ice floes. Scouts swim ahead, peeking up through cracks. When one finds a seal, it returns to the pod. Then the entire group lines up shoulder to shoulder beneath the surface and swims in formation, generating a single massive coordinated wave that shatters the ice apart. If the seal still won't move, They blow walls of bubbles to confuse it, then drag it into the water. Engineering by dolphins with water. In Argentina, a different pod has perfected something called intentional stranding. They throw their own bodies onto the beach, riding waves to grab sea lions off the sand, then using the next wave to slide back into the surf. If they mistime it, they die. Only 13 orcas in this entire population can do it, and they only learn it after years of practice, practicing alongside their mothers on empty sand, with no prey, just rehearsing. Sometimes the mothers bring seaweed, like a training dummy. This isn't instinct, this is teaching. This is curriculum, this is school. Now apply that to giant squid hunting. Every technique I just told you about, the echolocation tracking, the barometric kill, the herding pattern, none of it is hardwired. All of it is learned, all of it is taught, all of it is passed down across generations like a family secret. Every single orca calf inherits thousands of years of accumulated hunting knowledge before it ever takes its first dive. Think about that. But that same intelligence is also where this story turns dark. And remember the warning I gave you at the start? Take a breath. We're going there now, because intelligence is not kindness. Orcas have been documented killing for sport. Scientists call it surplus killing. They will hunt and slaughter far more prey than they could ever eat, leaving carcasses bobbing in the open water. But here is the moment that haunts the researchers who recorded it. Young orcas have been observed tossing seal pups back and forth between each other, like beach balls, for hours. They throw them through the air, they catch them, they juggle them, and then, when they are done playing, they kill the pup and swim away, without taking a single bite. There is no survival explanation for this, no hunger, no territory, no threat, just play. It gets worse. Male orcas have been documented committing infanticide, killing the calves of rival pods, by force, to bring the mothers back into reproductive condition. These are not random acts of nature. These are choices made by a creature that knows exactly what pain is, and chooses to inflict it anyway. Which raises a question we still don't fully know how to answer. Are orcas conscious? Do they understand right and wrong? Do they choose to be cruel? The evidence says yes. In 2001, scientists ran the mirror self-recognition test on captive orcas. They placed visible marks on the orcas' bodies, in spots they couldn't see directly, and then introduced mirrors. Every single orca recognized itself. They twisted, they turned. They examined the marks for extended periods. They knew exactly what they were looking at, themselves. That puts them in an extremely small club: humans, great apes, elephants, dolphins, animals that know they exist. But it's not just self-awareness. Remember that hyper-developed insular cortex I told you about? The part of the brain wired for empathy, for grief, for love. It works. Meet Tahlequah, a female orca from the critically endangered southern resident population off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. In 2018, she gave birth to a calf, her first in years, a daughter, within 30 minutes. The calf died. For the next 17 days, Tahlequah carried her dead baby on her head. She refused to let her sink. She pushed her through the cold North Pacific water for over 1,600 kilometers, across 2 countries, through busy shipping lanes, past tourist boats. For 2.5 weeks, she would not let her daughter go, and when Tahlequah got too tired to keep pushing the body, when grief had taken everything she had, other orcas in her pod took turns. They held the calf up. They helped a grieving mother carry her child. This served no survival purpose. It cost them energy, it cost them time. It was nothing but love and loss. Read that again. Other orcas helped a mother carry her dead baby for 17 days. If you've ever wondered whether animals can feel what we feel, that's your answer. But here's something even more surprising than grief. Off the coast of New Zealand, a pod of orcas was once observed defending a group of sperm whales from a great white shark attack. The orcas didn't fight the sharks. They didn't eat anyone. They simply positioned their bodies between the sharks and the whales, a wall of muscle protecting another species entirely. When the sharks gave up and left, the orcas left too. No reward, no payment, just protection. These are not just animals, these are persons. in every meaningful sense of the word, which makes what we did to them unforgivable. For decades, we hunted them, we captured them, we stuffed 20,000-pound mines into concrete tanks the size of swimming pools. We forced them to perform tricks for tourists. The damage was psychological. Captive orcas developed self-mutilation behaviors. Their dorsal fins collapsed, a condition virtually unheard of in the wild. Some attacked their trainers, some killed them. Those weren't acts of malice. Those were the actions of a hyper-intelligent, social, deep-ranging creature trapped in a bathtub. We weren't watching aggression, we were watching a mind break. The last wild capture was in Iceland in 1976. The southern resident population that Tahlequah belongs to has only 75 individuals left. Each death is a tragedy, each birth a miracle. They are running out of time, but there is hope. Salmon restoration projects are bringing back their food. Boat traffic regulations are quieting their seas. Public awareness is growing fast. People are finally starting to understand that orcas are not just animals. They have culture, they have language, they have family, they have grief, they have joy, maybe even morality. The deep sea is darker, stranger, and more intelligent than we ever imagined. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments, and I'm not asking lightly. If an orca grieves the way Tahlequah grieved, if it teaches its children the way a human teaches a human, if it chooses cruelty, knowing exactly what cruelty means, is it still just an animal? Yes or no? Drop one word in the comments. I read every single reply, and the next pinned comment is yours. If you made it this far, congratulations. You're part of the 1% of viewers who actually finish a full Mr. Owl Science deep dive. That makes you officially Apex Predator audience. Hit subscribe and ring the bell, because every week we go deeper into the most extreme biology on this planet. And next week, I'll let you decide where we go. Comment your number. 1. The mantis shrimp. The only animal whose punch travels faster than a bullet, hot enough to literally boil the water around it. 2. The saltwater crocodile, with a bite force greater than a T-Rex and a hunting strategy that has barely changed in 100 million years. 3. The Humboldt squid, the smaller cousin of the giant, that hunts in coordinated packs and has actually attacked human divers. Top vote becomes the next episode, so vote loud. The ocean has been watching us for 50 million years, with brains more folded than ours, with memories longer than our civilizations, with a kind of intelligence we are only just beginning to understand. Maybe the question was never, are we alone in the universe? Maybe the question has always been, are we alone on this planet? I'll see you in the next one.